Rogue Knight at your service. The time has come. This is going to be absurd. One man in a world of fools. May my enemy share the fate of the shattered hell. Bitter the orphan's journey, and lonely the orphan's grave. Look out for fallen rocks! You back to the Stone Age.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our third match for the G1 League LAN Finals. I'm LD. I'm joined by Blitz, making his first appearance here today for our coverage. Blitz, we've had some great games so far today, especially that first one, the Alliance taking down DK 1-0 with the epic level 1 row strategy. Then we just got done watching Orange take care of Liquid. Liquid, they had their moments, couldn't close the deal. So one of our Western teams starts the group off 1-0. We'll take a quick look at the groups now just to see sort of the results. Actually, it seems like we may have to dispense with the player introductions. The game is loading now. But, Kawa, quickly, let's just see the group standings before we hop into this game. The next match is going to be LGD versus Invictus Gaming. That's definitely not the right groups. That would be the International 3. Kawa, you're disappointing me here. All right. Alliance 1-0 at the top of the group, tied currently with Orange. It's a full round-robin format. IG and LGD, the two teams that haven't played, the two Chinese Titans, will be coming up next. I think we'll just run through the teams really quickly while the game loads. Then we'll hop inside the draft. So, Jarrett, this is going to be speed introductions. Let's see if we can get through IG and LGD in just a few seconds here. Zhou going to be playing that carry role, moving right along. We have 430, the pianist, the solo mid. We'll continue here. Of course, YYF, known for his offlane play, known for pretty much everything. Chuan, oh man, the Malaysian sensation. He is one of the stars for this team. Last but not least, it's Faith, that 5-position support. That's IG. We'll show the hexagon just for a few seconds. Perfect 10s all around the board. Well, they do have their flaws, IG, but they rarely show them. They lost to Tongfu in the Dota 2 Super League, but I'd be shocked if they don't go deep in this tournament. As for LGD China, you have Sylar, the hard carry player. This is one of the more photogenic Chinese teams, moving right along. We have Xiao 8 playing that 2-position role, sometimes for the team, sometimes plays the 3 or the 4. It does vary. Of course, Yao, he's played some offlane, often goes mid on heroes like the Invoker. Fourth, we have DDC, that support player, the secondary support for the team. And last but not least, it's DD, who's recently returned to competitive play after a brief retirement. He'll be the hard support. And to the hexagons. To the hexagons, Jarrett, to the hexagons. And we have, well, solid marks all around. This team not quite as explosive, not quite as complete as IG, but still certainly capable of taking a win off of them, especially in this best-of-1 format. So with that being said, well, we don't have time to talk about the match too much more because the draft is underway. We're going to throw it right to the casters. Purge, Merlini, take it away.
Hey guys, welcome to LGD versus Invictus Gaming. This is going to be an insane game. Keep in mind, this is the teams that got first and third at the International 2. Huge powerhouses. This is going to be the best match of the night for sure.
I mean, my two favorites coming out of this tournament, I predicted IG first and LGD second, and this is the match to watch.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We are getting into the draft here. First round of banning is actually finished already, and the one here that I'm looking at and confused about,
Respect
Kunkka.
ban for Xiao 8's Kunkka right there.
Is that what it is? When is the last time they played him?
LD, do you see Xiao 8's Kunkka?
Xiao 8, Kunkka!
Yeah, respect ban, very first.
Really?
Yeah. This is, I think, a week ago.
He had a great Kunkka. He was like 15,
Yeah.
1, and 14.
It was ridiculous, but that was certainly a respect ban because I've never seen that hero banned ever in competitive play. Regardless, we have Invictus Gaming on the rating side. They will have first pick. Will opt to ban the Kunkka and the Clockwork, and LGD on the side of Dire will ban out Lifestealer and Lone Druid. And most notably, there is no Western team in this, so no Wisp ban.
Yeah, Visage gets picked up, a hero that's actually been seeing quite the support splash in the Eastern qualifiers thus far. That was the last couple days of broadcasts that we've been doing here at BTS. Darkseer picked up really early, actually. Not opting for a Magnus or a Batrider, actually. Batrider making it first through the first 3
Batrider
picks.
making it this far is a little absurd. Shadow Demon handles Batrider fairly well, especially if you are a high-tier team like IG who can react very quickly with defensive or offensive disrupts. And Visage, again, he is seeing a lot of play, both in the TI3 Eastern qualifiers as well as this G1 League LAN finals. And I mean, he is a strong hero. He often wins his triple lanes, and he scales actually pretty decently. And we've seen some spectacular stunts from those familiars.
Yeah, you can. If your micro is good enough, the hero has a ton of potential, especially at the highest levels of play. Soul Assumption is a great damaging nuke. His disable is okay in the early game with Grave Chill, gives him a lot of right clicks. And once you do grab the familiars, the AoE stuns are fantastic for setting up team fights. You can use them for scouting. Their vision isn't that good, and sometimes you do accidentally feed those to your opponents, but all around, great hero.
And Juggernaut actually picked it from Invictus. Rarely we see him paired without a hero such as Lone Druid, who we have seen some very strong push potential come out, but looks like very aggressive picks from Invictus Gaming here. Shadow Demon Lina combo, as well as the Juggernaut. I'm actually surprised that they took Lina instead of Lashrak just because Juggernaut Auction tends for push strategies and Lashrak is generally better at push. But the surprise pick so far, LGD has gone for a Spectre third pick.
Alright, so Spectre is a hero that we've seen Alliance playing sometimes lately. The hero has some merits. A lot of teams think that she's still really strong. A lot of teams really favoring Desolate builds right now, which is her second skill. In the past, her Dagger skill maxed first for kill stealing and general chase, things like that. But Spectre with Haunt and Desolate can actually be really strong at level 6, especially against heroes like Shadow Demon and Lina. Those two heroes are very, very squishy. They have low armor. They're going to take all that pure damage, and they have a good shot of getting killed by that.
Yeah, his Achilles heel is the early game, though. If Spectre is try on try, worth a Shadow Demon and Juggernaut Lina, Visage or no Visage, I'm pretty sure that Spectre will get manhandled. However, he does farm back quite well, and he scales incredibly well late game. Any HP item getting a boost by Dispersion, and Haunt just pretty much allows him to split push. You don't need Caudle when you have a Spectre, and surprisingly, Caudle has not been picked or banned yet.
Yeah, we're into the ban stage at the moment. We see a Magnus get banned by Invictus Gaming. Slightly worried about the counter push that they're working with, that the Magnus would work with, and of course reverse polarity. Anti-Mage no ban for LGD. I'm slightly surprised about the Anti-Mage ban because Spectre is actually a really good Anti-Mage counter, but it does require equal farm, and Anti-Mage gets there way easier than Spectre does.
Yep, and we see a Silencer ban out from Invictus Gaming and Gyrocopter from LGD. So LGD is just really scared of the top tier carries. I believe there's still an Alchemist left in the pool, but all four of their heroes, very strong, potent late gamers.
And 2 bans left in the group. Do you think they were expecting a support Silencer? We saw one of those last night, actually. It was a weird trialing. It was a Nyx Assassin Silencer with an Anti-Mage, and the entire goal was just draining mana. Do you think that's going to be more common in the scene?
I think that, Global, I think, is the bigger spell that they're looking for here. And although Curse of the Silent does work very well against some triple lanes, I think that for Shadow Demon, Lina, and Jug is not that important. You can just spin and take it off. Light Strike Array, those aren't as mana intensive as, let's say, Soul Assumption and Stormwall. But I think with Global, vacuum wall into a Global or just Spectre ult in Global and immediately kill 2 heroes, I think that's very, very huge. Especially being able to Global Ultimate or Global Silence through Juggernaut's Blade Fury, that's a pretty big spell for them.
Yeah, it would have hurt their laning a lot since they don't have very many disables right now, but you're right. If they did start a team fight and they can Global Silence on top of that, it completely shuts down a lot of options that the heroes are going to be working with. So I'm expecting to see one more carry ban here out of LGD. The Lone Druid's gone. That's every single ban that they've had so far. Who's left? Luna. that is...
They're just scared.
It's perfect. Like, they don't want to play against the top tier carries. They want to play against a lower tier. This might be an indication of how good Spectre is, basically. They could say Spectre is maybe can't compete with the top tier carries, but is good against the other ones. So we want to get out of the other competition, force you into a tier 2 carry, and then we'll see if we can beat you with the Spectre.
Nyx Assassin, very good pickup, especially managing it to pick it in the second phase, and very quick pickup by Nature's Prophet here. They are going for a global strategy, and they're lacking a little bit on late game, but Tinker and Juggernaut should not be underestimated. We saw Juggernaut carry in the 1 role yesterday, but he was buffed by Empower and Overpower from Wisp, but I think that they still have a pretty good lineup. A lot of people think that you really need 1 carry. We've seen some Southeast Asian and Chinese teams pick 3 carries, but Invictus Gaming not really going for any sort of hard carry, so we should see a pretty exciting game from both teams.
Yeah, Nature's Prophet's most likely going to focus on a Midas and do some damage potential, most likely Shadow Blade. We've been seeing a lot of counter pushing with that hero. He might have trouble late game because Spectre actually can solo kill him pretty easily with a dagger if she gets close with detection, but hopefully for them it never gets to that point. The split pushing from Invictus Gaming and their pushing overall is going to be really scary. If Tinker gets some decent items up and Juggernaut wants to push with this healing ward, they can put a double march spam on the ground, and LGD basically has to say, do we want to run into the march and team fight? And generally that answer is no. So I think it's going to be really tough for LGD to take towers, and it's going to be really hard for them to also defend them.
Yeah, I like this lineup coming from LGD though. They have a Nyx Assassin, and if he finds anyone, they will be able to immediately burst him down with Vendetta, Impale, Mana Burn, and Haunt in from Spectre. But it looks like they are debating what they want to put solo mid. Most likely from Invictus Gaming, we'll see a Nature's Prophet in the off lane or the jungle, triple lane from the Juggernaut Shadow Demon, as well as Elena, and a solo mid Tinker. So I think their lanes are pretty predictable. Nothing really too fancy they can do there. We've seen some Tinker jungle, we've seen some Juggernaut solo mid, but I think that they have a pretty set up what they want to do right now. And LGD, question is, who do they want to put solo mid right now versus that Tinker? Oh, actually, nope, it's not going to be a Jakiro solo mid.
Who is their typical mid player? Is it, it's not Zhao 8, it used to be Zhao 8. He could be going there with the Nyx Assassin, it's a possibility. Sylar's gonna be playing Spectre, so let's see. Let's look over the players quick. I'm a little flabbergasted. It might be aggressive tri-lane from IG. Maybe they want to dodge it. Who knows? They have the Ice Frog Courier. Ferrari 430 is going to be playing Tinker. I haven't seen this guy play Tinker in forever. I'm really excited to watch this. YYF playing Jug. We've got Faith on Shadow Demon. Juan is playing Lina, and the last player is going to be Zhao, or Zhou, playing the Nature's Prophet.
And on the side of LGD China, we see Xiao A on the Nyx Assassin. Looks like he will be taking up the solo mid role on the side of the Dire. We see Sylar on the carry Spectre. Looks like they will be safe lane triple laning with DDC on the Visage and Taobao, DDC on... Wait, I just said DDC on the Vision and DD, sorry, on the Jakiro. Looks like Yao will be the off-lane solo Darkseer.
And a couple pauses here. Chuan a little frustrated. ... Yeah, so mad. He wants to get the game started. Darkseer going to the off-lane, opting for a Clarity Potion over a single Ironwood branch. We see some Darkseers go either way here, but usually when you're against the tri-lane, sometimes grabbing the Clarity Potion is a better option. You're less worried about staying in the lane and taking hits, and you're more just worried about getting as many Ion Shells for free farm as possible. So if he does go solo versus a tri-lane, I think this is going to be pretty good for the Darkseer. The downside is that Shadow Demon hard counters his escape. You just wait until he casts Surge, and then you throw the Disruption. But on the bright side...
they don't really have any other good setups, though. I mean, unless Yao really is out of position and gets hit by an unset up Light Striker Ray, I don't think he'll be in any danger. He can just surge away from YYF spin, and he should have a decent time on bottom, but it really depends on how aggressive these two support players play, Faith and Chuan at this point.
Well, who do you think's even going to go to the mid lane? There's some weird item choices here going on. Ferrari has 4 Ironwood branches. He has a Salve Tango, which means he doesn't want a super fast bottle. Maybe he's just going to solo versus the Darkseer. Is that crazy? I feel like that's not the best matchup for the Tinker.
I mean, we usually do see Ferrari go solo mid, but again, they are somewhat flexible in their lanes. I mean, who would they put mid versus Nyx? They could put YYF there, but again, really passive early game from them if they choose to do that. I think they really want to get some kills with the early game Juggernaut. They do have kill potential, especially with Shadow Demon and Lina roaming. We do see a smoke up on Chuan as the Lina.
Yeah, I mean, that's another good point. They wouldn't necessarily want to put Tinker mid because the Nyx Assassin, he wins lanes versus end heroes because he just picks up mana drain at level 1 and he just does a lot of damage with it. And it's going to cost him so much mana that Tinker's not even going to be able to harass very well. And even if he does end up getting levels in his lane, he can't use Missile because it can easily be blocked by Spiked Carapace. So in a lot of ways, Nyx Assassin is a really good counter towards Tinker on the mid lane. So I think this is going to force IG into some weird lanes.
And the most surprising thing to me at this point, besides the Spectre pick, of course, is the option for IG to just forego top lane. It looks like Spectre will just have a free lane on top. He does have a poor main shield. He has pull one set of Tango, but really, what is a Spectre going to do to you early game? He doesn't have a stun at all. His Spectral Daggers just 50 damage at level 1, doesn't stun at all, and very minimal move speed slow. And Spectre is just very, very easy to kill. I'm just surprised that they didn't take up the option. I think they could severely hinder his farm with the double range supports from IG as well as the constant threat of a Juggernaut Blade Fury. But regardless, we may see some lane rotation from IG. Constant pauses out from Yao right here.
Ooh,
and
a period, comma, period,
Chuan
period.
Is not here.
That's
not
extra mad, man. I don't know what they're saying. That's all caps.
Wow. Some
where's
Chinese
Lumi?
flame
Where you
coming
at?
out here.
I wish Lumi was here.
Lumi.
Make your call in. What's happening?
About 1 minute until the creeps on right now, and it looks like, Furion is trying to set up these treants to scout. I don't even know. Oh, looks like Stumpies, but looks like Yao has disconnected from the game. I'm not sure whether it is connection issues or whatever it may be. But
and while we're waiting, we'll just hop out for just a second.
Yeah.
I think IG has a really good shot of taking this at least 2-1. I think there's a possibility of them even going 2-0, but we can also talk about the recent performance. They did get, was it 1-2? No, they got 2-0'd by Tongfu. Is that correct?
I
know they lost. I'm pretty sure it was a 2-0.
Yeah, I think it was.
And that's super surprising.
LD was talking about that in the pre-show.
Yeah, and even still, Tongfu's a great team. They came through the Eastern qualifiers last year at TI2, and they ended up getting, I think, top 8, which was surprising. Nobody really thought that they were going to do that well. So they're definitely a very talented team. But IG, I believe, I was told the other night, hasn't lost a set since November.
Yeah, I mean, that is ridiculous. IG is just very, very strong. So this is the 4th game played today, and actually the 3rd match. First game was an All-Stars match in between the Chinese All-Stars as well as the World All-Stars, as they called it. And first game was Alliance versus DK. Second game was Orange versus Liquid. And third game is IG versus LGD. So we see all 6 teams play today. And again, this is a best of 1 in the G1 League Finals.
And we've been baited back into the game once again to confuse our production, man. But
Yao is just totally juking us with these pauses.
Keeps resuming and then pausing, and I don't know what that's accomplishing. We actually see a disconnect from Siler now, so it looks like they're going to be figuring things out for just a bit.
I know.
here.
You'd think there'd be less connection problems at a LAN, but apparently that is not true. Especially with that whole fiasco for the All-Star games. But regardless, these are the two Chinese powerhouses, the teams that everybody's been looking forward to. And I think IG are actually favorites to win at TI3 this year. They won TI2 last year. Second place was Navi, and third place was LGD China. So again, two of the best teams in the world in one best of one. I am very excited to see this, especially with some unconventional picks. Spectre being picked up third. That is just boggles my mind.
Yep.
I've seen them used by actually Dignitas. They ran a Warlock and Spectre strategy maybe 4 months ago, 3 to 4 months ago. It was quite a while back, but I mean, he has a blip on the radar now and then, but really we just never see Spectre. He used to be really popular, but I mean, seeing some play after his recent haunt buff, but is he really that strong?
I don't know. I think he has potential. I've seen some other players play them in pub games or scrims, and they're really focusing more on Diffusal Blades rather than Radiance. Radiance was the really common Illusion Spectre build. You'd grab the Radiance, you'd have a Vanguard, you'd be really tanky, and then you can just pop Haunt and everybody takes burn damage. So actually the game is starting. They said test in all chat. Oh, they're pausing again. We're tricked again.
JK guys.
Going back out. But yeah, Radiance used to be the common build, but everybody's really valuing Diffusal Blade, and I think that was things really started turning over, and PL started getting picked a lot. I think people started saying, okay, we want Diffusal Blade 2 as fast as possible, and we want to do tons of mana burn and damage for a low cost.
So a couple things I've heard them: Tranquil Boots nerf, most notably, and I've actually seen a lot of. I mean, speaking of Phantom Lancer, I've actually seen a lot of them go Phantom Lancer builds, which is either Treads or Tranquil Boots, most of the time Tranquil Boots, into a Drums, into a Yasha, and this really gives him the early game presence that he needs and the couple kills that he needs just so he can get the experience early and just really snowball into late game. If you farm a Radiance, you're just going to be useless for 25 minutes, and oftentimes the game is already decided by then.
Yeah, and you're at super high vulnerability to getting killed. Your only escape really is either daggering into trees, which good players will hopefully chain stun you enough where you just die, or they'll pop a Haunt and they'll just teleport to one of your allies on the other side of the map, which kind of requires you to 5-man gank him, otherwise he has that easy out if you don't chain stun, so it can be really careful. We're going to resume again. Fingers crossed the game. Nope, pause, sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, don't move. All right. But yeah, Diffusal Blade a lot more popular now because you can get scaling or even Yasha. If you grab a Drum and a Yasha, the main reason people are doing this right now is AOI pointed out the other day in one of our casts. Haunt gives your illusions a base 400 movement speed, and anything on top of that from Yasha as well as Drums is extra. And it might seem not like much, but if you are maxing Desolate, that's extra attacks, and every Desolate attack does between probably 35 and 60 pure damage, depending on what level you're at. And that's a huge impact in the early game. 2 Desolate hits, that's 120 pure. That's equivalent to like, what, 180 damage magic nuke or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's on everybody on the enemy team if they're solo, but still, it really is a lot of damage extra.
And speaking of Desolate, we also see a lot of heroes a lot of people pick up an early Manta style Spectre, and this may seem a little bit counterintuitive just because you don't have Diffusal, so why do you need the illusions when you don't have the Diffusal Blade to burn it? But those illusions, regardless of whether it's from Haunt or from Manta or from Illusion Rune, those do full Desolate damage, and it is not mitigated by the 30% damage that we see from illusions very often. So if you find a support by themselves and immediately Haunt and Reality and then the Manta on them, they could just die in a matter of seconds. Like 3 times the whatever pure damage from Desolate is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and usually if you're grabbing agility items like Manta, your attack speed's actually going to be pretty good. You can scale that up. You need plus Agi, which is easily infused by Diffusal Blade. Manta has a little bit less, I believe, but still a pretty reasonable amount.
Right.
So it's a pretty cool item build. It makes you stronger. You can escape ganks and things like that, and makes you a lot more useful early. Drum is really good as well, though. I mean, the extra HP and the mana and the
They actually don't have any lockdown. I mean, they have Sprout, but he can easily just Spectral Dagger out of it. They have the Lena stun, but other than that, they actually don't have any stuns or any silences. And this means that, well, first off, TP scrolls will be very, very useful, and secondly, they can't really kill Spectre that much if he plays it very safe. He can just usually just Spectral Dagger into trees and run away. And again, seeing how this Spectre develops throughout the game, that is the key for IG and how they want to handle it. It seems like right now they sort of want to dodge the triple lane, which is actually surprising me just because Spectre is such a weak early game hero. But I think they'll start to try and gain control into the 10 to 20 minute arc because, again, they don't have a hard carry. And if this game goes long enough, if she gets that Diffusal, Manta, Butterfly Heart that we see sometimes Spectres get, that she will just snowball out of control and just be able to pick up early kills. Or even the Radiance build. Radiance is a little bit old school, but I have seen it now and then, and it will cause a lot of troubles for IG. Although, where's the Shadow Demon, you don't really want to get it. Sometimes people say that you should really watch out with the Shadow Demon. If you get disrupted, your illusions can just end up killing yourselves.
When a Shadow Demon disrupts yourself?
Shadow Demons disrupt the Spectre, and then the Spectre's images can kill himself just because of the interaction in between the illusion and the Desolate.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it's pretty scary for him if he's actually blocked in place. And again, on the fact that they don't have that many disables on IG's lineup, Sprout, not going to be useful against Spectre unless he gets chain stunned or silenced. He can easily dagger through that. And another thing, if it goes really late game, normally Tinker is a huge nuisance. Blink Dagger is pretty common. I don't know which build he'll go. Some players like going Dagon 5, actually a respectable Tinker build. Other players like Sheepstick instead. Now, we're probably expecting to see Sheep, just because they don't have many disables, and shutting down a hero like Spectre is really important. But
I mean, he could just like straight up kill himself with Dagon 5 though, with the dispersion.
That is true. But even still, it's going to be hard for him to stay completely evasive. A lot of Tinker games, you'll see them blinking into trees and doing March and then blinking away. He can just haunt. If they really need to kill the Tinker and shut him down, same goes for the Nature's Prophet. They have all the split push, and Spectre can always find you, no matter what. So that might even come into play sometime in a late game situation. IG's not going to be able to play this like they might want to.
And what they really need to get is an early boost to travel up on Tinker. That is going to be very crucial for them. And if they scout out one gank with Shadow Demon, they can TP in with Furion, TP in with Tinker, and just immediately pick people off. And they really need a sort of gain control around that mark. So it might be a relatively passive early 10 minutes, but first 10 minutes, but once they get that boost of travel up and running, and before Spectre gets those key items, I expect IG to put a lot of pressure around the map, really abuse the global mobility of their lineup.
Yeah, hopefully they can do that for their sake. They could still do a pretty good job in the early lane, though. If they get a couple ganks off on the Spectre, or they at least contest his farm, it can shut them down a lot. So,
well, it looks like we have an extended pause here. LGD just constantly resuming and pausing. So, Kawang, you want to show a quick video while this break is going on?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back in just a second, guys. Thanks for being patient with us. We are just as frustrated as you, but hopefully the game gets started in just a bit. I think there's a ping problem. We'll be right back.
Thirty seconds to battle.
Alright guys, we're back in the game. The game has resumed. They are not trolling us this time. It's time to watch IG versus LGD. This game is so important here. By far the two, maybe not by far, but two of the strongest teams in the Western or in the Chinese scene right now. And they have some interesting drafts, and we can't wait to see this stuff play out.